Greetings. So yeah, today I was out for my beautiful hike and just thinking everything's beautiful and nice, and that maybe they'd worked out something in Minneapolis, and the Fed took a new turn, and they're going to talk to people and work with the locals and quit hassling people, brutalizing people. But no, oh gosh, turn on the internet to find out there's been another shooting today of an ICU nurse. I mean, everybody knows that, man, if you're an ICU nurse, you're probably also a fentanyl dealing, hardcore, the worst of the worst criminal from Venezuela who deserves to be just shot in the face extrajudicially by some hired thug trained by the IDF. That's what you deserve if you're an ICU nurse in America right now. Unfortunately, a lot of conservatives still have this thing of, oh, Jeff, they're just getting the worst of the worst. They're going after. It's like they think they're at the border or something, right? Like people are still storming the border. No, all the people came in the border when Biden let them in. He didn't vet them or anything. He let corona infected people. Everybody just boom, flood on in. Paid for them to come in. Actually gave tickets to some to fly in. It was a mass entry into the United States, right? And on purpose, done very haphazardly, as if you were trying to trigger people and put us in a situation where we're going to have to kind of over-respond, overreact, okay? But at the same time, it's still not Biden's fault, the overreactions of ICE right now. Biden did put us in a situation. We don't even know who's in the country. And a lot of child trafficking, sex dealing, criminal elements were let in. That's totally true. How long is it going to take ICE with just unlimited powers and no constitutional restraints? How long does it take them to round up all the worst of the worst? Because it's been months now of brutalizing Americans in the name of rounding up the worst of the worst. And we still have to round up the worst of the worst? So anyway, it's horrible. I think after the third shooting in Minnesota, if I was a local there, I think I might be trying to put together a posse. I know that sounds strange. I think I'd call up, they've already said to President Trump, please get these ICE people out of here. They're not really law enforcement people. Law enforcement people are professionals, right? These people are hired thugs. They're like, oh, you're fresh out of prison after beating up your wife? Let's put you out on the street in Minneapolis with a gun and a hatred for people. That's the kind of element that they seem to be getting a lot of. And you see it in the footage. You could just see it. It's on their face. They know they're immune. They know they have impunity. They're operating above the law. They don't care. They've been told, yeah, we're going after non-humans, just whatever. They're not even legals, right? They're illegals. We're going after illegals, so they're non-humans. They're not humans. The people that are opposing you, yeah, they're just whatever they are. Just get them too. Who cares? They may as well be dirty Arabs, right? Because you were trained by the IDF, by the way, if you're an ICE agent. But anyway, if you're a local, if you're a California state official, let's say you're Governor Tampon Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, woo, we're gonna put tampons in the boys' locker room. What a crazy. But anyway, if you're Tampon Tim Walz and you're going to stand up and make a big show out of standing up to old Donald Trump, bad Donald Trump, you're never going to stand up to the CIA or even mention them. You don't even have the balls to mention their name. But okay, you're going to stand up to Trump and the big bad ICE, DHS, and that is an obvious target right now. So stand up to them, okay? Declare something for the Constitution in the state of Minnesota. And gather up your forces, gather up your posse, your sheriff, your whatever, your highway patrol, your local police forces, your sheriffs, all that kind of your corrections officers. Gather them all up, deputize them all to fight to evict ICE, to get federal cops that don't obey laws out of the state. Every federal law enforcement agents that are going to be allowed to re-enter must all have no mask and be wearing name tags, very visible and under some sort of control, a local police board, a local police something. Okay, then we can let them back in to go get the worst of the worst, whoever's there, Trinidad, whatever it is. We got to get Somalis, people from Somalia. We let in after we. That's one of the. Wasn't Somalia one of the countries on our list of 7 countries after 9/11 that had nothing to do with attacking the New York, but they're somehow on the list of the terror countries we're going to go after. The 7 countries that Wesley Clark didn't know about, General Wesley Clark, and then they called him in and said, "Hey, we're having a little meeting. We got 7 countries here we're going for in the wake of 9/11." This is it. This is kind of part of that playing out here. But anyway, so it's just crazy. It's crazy. It's too bad. The ICE right now is, I mean, if you're an American citizen and you're a true patriot, you're going to say, hey, bro, you know what, the Fourth Amendment, I really am concerned about Joe Biden letting people flood the country. That was nasty. I am concerned that there might still be some really nasty elements here, but I'm even more concerned about preserving the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. And I've heard you guys even have this thing where they're going to now start entering homes, okay? So that's the Castle Doctrine, that's Posse Comitatus, habeas corpus, Fourth Amendment, 14th Amendment, illegal search and seizure, First Amendment, right for free speech, right of assembly. Third Amendment, no quarter. You don't have to quarter soldiers in your house. So there's a lot of amendments that they're violating, and that's prime. That defending the Constitution is actually prime. That's more important than any concern I might have still that there might be some violent criminal thugs, some sex traffickers in the country. The sex traffickers are the top leaders in the Democrat Party. They're the people on the Epstein list, Alan Dershowitz. You have to look any further than that. Democrats, Repugs, it's all the people that were bribed by Israel, basically, fall into the Mossad honeypot trap that Epstein was a part of, only just a part of what Robert Maxwell, MI6, Mossad was doing to Republicans and Democrats for decades now, using poor girls to entice and trap rich people, powerful people. But yeah, that's okay. That's what that is. But the big concern right now is ICE, what they're doing. It's very triggering. I think it's meant to trigger you. You see the images, you're very triggered. So I think, the elites are laughing. They don't care. ICE is not going to be doing raids in like gated communities or at private colleges, or that's not where ICE is going to be doing that kind of stuff. If they did, it would be game over. It'd be over right away. If ICE did one raid on some rich people in a gated community, that ICE would be stopped just like that. It'd be over. So it's a class thing. It's meant to rile us up, keep us divided, keep us flared up, keep us talking about divisive, unsolvable social issues. Abortion is back. Abortion once again. The thing is that the liberals now are completely just totally convinced that your money should absolutely be used. Like, we do not have the right to deny public money being used for like gender reassignment surgery or abortions, right? So as a conservative Christian, that might not be your belief system. Now it's not only that we're going to have to allow abortion and gender reassignment surgery, but that we also have to just take it for granted that we're going to pay for it, right? I think the conservative movement kind of finally came to this thing, hey, we just don't want to, we want to defund that. We just want to make sure that it's not funded through our state money or any of that kind of stuff. You can have gender dysphoria all up and down. If you determine that every kid in your elementary school is gender dysphoric, and that's just the way it goes now. A couple 20 years ago, it was a small percentage that would be affected by this, but now it seems to be super trendy. Every one of them seems to not know who they are when they're born, or they don't know, or maybe they're a cat or a dolphin or a female or a male. They don't know, but anyway, that's fine. But we have to pay for that now. It's just taken for granted. That's very divisive. You see how triggering it is? It's always the trigger point. It's never the thing you've already accepted. That would show that there's good leadership trying to build harmony. If we said, hey, isn't that great how Some conservatives were really concerned about gays and gay marriage, but then they learned, they were educated. We passed gay marriage, full rights, no problem. Gay marriage is fine. It's over. It's done. And now we can get back to uniting along class lines, working on things that matter, like, education, stuff like that. I mean, gay rights matter, but we've already done it. You've already got it. Gay people are not, if you're in a real wealthy area, gay people are really well liked most of the time, right? It's a poor, like a poor hetero white dude with dirty feet. He's going to be treated really bad in a wealthy area, but a nice, neat, clean gay man, no problem, right? So there's no issue really right now with society flaring up being anti-gay or anything like that. Even trans, even that nobody would have noticed so much of that there's this trend of more kids, prepubescent kids, switching to. Now, it never was an issue if what you do as an adult with your own money, you can do that. If you want to change your sex or whatever as an adult with your own money, that has not been a problem for a long time. Of course, now they have to bring that. They have to bring even just cross-dressing men. Just it has to be story hour at the library, doesn't it? Starting around 2014, there were groups that were focused on, with nonprofit money, really having to bring it to story hour at the children's library. So they had to bring it to the children. They just had to do that. The transgender man pretending to be a woman had to put his junk in your children's face. He just had to do it. And we all saw pictures with kids with really weird, strangely dressed men with makeup and their junk kind of out from behind. I saw one, the man's junk was out and a kid's face was like literally right on it at the transgender story hour. And we're just, oh, Jeff, would you have a problem with that? Then you're a bigot. You see what I mean? So, but what I'm noticing is that I don't really care. They're not my kids, I do care, but it's not a big thing for me. I'm not going to focus on that too much because I know it's a trick, right? It's something to trigger you. So they take it to the extreme, to the place where it is going to trigger you. They can't leave you alone with these divisive social issues. So got to rein in ICE. It's really sad. A nurse got killed, an ICU nurse shot. I don't believe he's a Trinidad Aragua terrorist. I don't know. I haven't even seen any news about it. He might be. That ICU nurse just might be a horrible terrorist, and I don't know. I don't even know at this point. But it doesn't seem right. Stop the shootings. Let's coordinate. If our elites had cared about us all, this wouldn't be happening this way. We can defend our borders and correct the mistakes that Biden made without starting a civil war in the United States, right? And also, so promote love. Every video now ends with, I love you, and love, and reaching out to the other side, and stuff like that. Let's create some sense of ourselves as Americans again that we like. In the 60s, there was a thing we were kind of embarrassed as Americans a little bit, but we were also cool. Like, we liked it. We could take pride in the fact that we had actually fought a civil war to actually end slavery. We actually did that. We could take a little pride in that. We actually kind of got rid of Jim Crow. We passed laws against Jim Crow. We stopped a lot of Jim Crow. We stopped a lot of segregation. We integrated things. We experimented with busing. We made some mistakes. We were trying. That's the point. We were advancing. We were feeling better with ourselves. Moving forward, we have some identity. People wanted to move to America. It was a good, safe place to live. And the elites weren't totally child-humping demons that were draining us yet. Not yet. I mean, slowly, incrementally, there was always some. The Rockefeller, the Federal Reserve, some of these corporations that didn't want competition, monopolists, and some of this stuff. That had already happened, sure. But then we beat them back with antitrust laws. So we had antitrust laws, and we fought that back. We also had a medical establishment that helped served us, despite the Rockefeller incursions, Rockefeller intrusions, Rockefeller money, the bias against homeopathy and natural remedies and all that kind of stuff. We still though, doctors still felt like they were kind of working for the people. They weren't just a giant profit, just a giant drain surveillance evil thing that they've become now, right? The HMOs are now monopoly HMOs. When you deal with them, they're horrible. You don't really have a doctor. I don't know if you noticed yet, but it's getting to the point where you're not really face-to-face time with the doctor they don't want that. And that's being diminished. And a strong doctor that was your advocate could make demands for you, right? You're not going to have that in HMO medicine. You're not going to fight for it because, you're worried about who's gay and stuff like that, right? So that's too bad. But hey, let's stop being divided so much. Stop being so triggered and promote love and peace and harmony and accountability. If anything, DHS needs to be defunded. ICE needs to be held accountable. They need to be way diminished right now. We don't need that. We can protect our borders in other ways. Border agents that are trained. And when border agents are thinking that they're dealing with an American citizen, the American citizen is prime. The American citizen is prime. You are subordinate to the American citizen. Got it? Constitution. Anything that threatens the American Constitution is the largest threat right now. It's larger than the threat of any Venezuelan gang member. It's larger than the threat of anything, any kind of fake, weird struggle you can brew up between us over trans issues or shooting another conservative activist who's just trying to start dialogues or whatever it is that you're doing to trigger us. We need to get above that. And if we just focus on the Constitution and on what's good and on local solutions, we can get away from some of this. We can transcend some of this. We can beat the agenda that they have.